I think I have it already. I think he did it yesterday. I don't know. Okay, so when the two greens line up, you got to snap them together like this, and then two greens are equal to an orange, which is kind of like two ones is equal to a two. Is that okay? Okay. So you say, well, if you just make it go a little bit, if you just force it up a little bit like this, then you get a triangle, right?
But it's bent.
The lines have
But
to be
it's bent.
straight.
So the back of it bends. The orange bends. So if you could measure very, very accurately, like if you had really sharp pencils and you really took your time with your drawing compass, you cannot take two segments that are each one and make them go up like a little teepee.
But mine's not
And
like a teepee. It's like the slanted lining.
yeah.
It's
So,
like a one side and then a long side too.
so what I'm saying is this, Ariel, is if you take two segments that are exactly one, like this,
Yeah.
you cannot take a segment which is two, which is exactly this long, and have these stand up to make a triangle. Because if you do, as soon as you stand these up, and I'm exaggerating it like that, this side along here is going to end up being shorter than these two. And what I'm saying is that your measurements with your drawing compass and your accuracy isn't, if you're saying you're making a triangle, then the measurement of your lengths that are each one are not accurate. Or your length of two isn't accurate. Maybe you're making your two a little bit shorter. But, you know, this right here, I mean, this works. If these two green add up to this orange, as soon as I start pulling them up like this, it's not flat any longer. You can't make a triangle out of two sides that do not add up to be longer than the third. It just is impossible. And that's what the point of that question was, is that you would not be able to draw such triangle. You wouldn't be able to construct it. So for number 8, it says try to construct a triangle that's 2, 4, and 1. What happened then? It did not work. So that doesn't work. You sure? So in that case there, if you had this right here, which is 4 units, and then you take something which is 2 units, and then one that's 1 unit, that's not going to reach, is it? I mean, with my little plastic things, I can bend it and I can force it. But it's like this idea here, with the yellow, the pink, and the blue. You're never going to get these to meet. So these don't meet one another. Because the blue and the pink isn't longer than the yellow. So no triangle. That's all that they're asking for number 9, is for you to see that you can't do that. Because that leads into the next lesson. 11, 12, 13. So construct a segment whose length is m plus 2n. So, can you see my M down here? There's your M. So I think all you're supposed to do with that is take your drawing compass and you're gonna lay it out onto the book, holding it flat. So then this would be this right here would be a segment of length M. So then just like what we were doing yesterday where we had this line that we're working on, you call that my beginning point. There, that far is M. And then what do you have to add to that?
N.
2 n's, right? 2 times n. So that's just going to be basically this right here. So go back to your arch. There's 1. There's a second. So we have, here's where my arches are, I'm sorry. So this is M, that's N, that's N. The whole thing is M plus 2N. And that's what you have to do for these last two also. You take N and M, add them together, but then you gotta cut L off of them for this number 12. And for number 13, then you need to make a triangle out of those 3. Are you able to do that? Yeah? So if we were to start with a working line like this, and if we started with M, a little bit bent, here's the length of one side of the triangle, and then we have to just use these. Here's going to be the N. And then you gotta do the L, huh? So that intersection right there, that ends up being the vertex of your triangle. I think this is L, N, and that's M. So if you label it like that, that'd be all uptown. Sure.
So is there a specific way that, like, would it be okay if you put L on the other side? Like if you drew L and made that line on the other side?
Yeah, so are you saying,
Like it would make the same kind of triangle like
yeah,
this?
like this is L, right? That length? So I just did that a moment ago?
Sure.
And then I did N. And then I can go up from here, there's N. And then I'm gonna do M. Oops, there's the intersection. From there to there. Yeah, it's the same triangle. It's just been flipped and rotated a little, but sure, you can do that, and then you can do that all day. Yeah, it doesn't matter which you start with. They just showed us in the book to start with the longest side because sometimes that's a little easier. But it's not necessarily the only way you have to go. So, is that good? Or do you want more questions? Miranda, Hayden, Stacy, your chapter 2 test. I asked to get those back. I haven't seen yours yet. If I could get yours, that would be really nice.
Wait, which one?
Chapter 2.
What's that on?
I don't know, it says chapter 2 right across the top though.
Mine's in my backpack.
That'd be great if you could drop it off sometime so I can record some information from it, yes?
Yeah, I don't know what that check.
You never got it back?
Well, I never got it, like, I never got it to do it.
Never got completion.
She never took the test.
Really?
I was sick.
Are you sure?
I don't
Because
even.
I have a grade for you.
You do?
I believe I do.
Wait, was it the one, the last test?
No.
No?
Wait, I don't. Which
No.
is it? 2 tests
Test.
from now?
It was a long while ago. When, what, like last?
Is it not this test, but the test before it?
Yeah, it's back
I know what I got on it and which one I got wrong.
That's not what I'm looking for.
What are you looking?
No, I have a test grade here for you, Miranda. Yeah. You took it on the 4th of November,
What do you need it for?
November 2020.
He's putting in,
And then, so I have a score for you. Hayden, I have a score for you. Stacy, I have a score for you. So I know you took it.
I know I didn't take blood test, I know that,
Really?
yeah.
Why are you telling me now? I have a quiz that you never took.
Then it was, yeah, the quiz.
But I don't have, yeah, and I just put a 0 in the grade book for you, because you haven't taken it. And I figured maybe that got your attention, but if it doesn't, I'm sorry, I'll try harder next time. But I would hope that if you see a 0 for a quiz, you'd come and bug me.
I also did complete.
Right, you didn't do a quiz, that's why I have that here. And Rylan, I need to talk to you about something that you haven't done either. So don't leave without talking to me. We want to make a plan for when we're going to do this.
Wait, so you want my test back again?
Yeah, if I could just take a look at it when you have
I
it.
doubt I have it.
Really?
Really?
Okay, take a look and let me know if you can't find it, all right?
Okay, what's it for?
I want to record which questions you did well with,
Okay.
keeping track of how ready we are for algebra. Okay, with that in mind, gosh, no, I don't know where anybody sits anymore.
Oh, I remember when Mr. Dagan, I remember when you were asking for everybody's.
Wait,
Is
this
that
one
the
we
one
already
I-
did this. This was one we did a while ago.
Yeah, that's the test.
Yeah, somebody did actually.
Yeah, Mr. Dagan, the
Whoa.
time when you were getting everybody's tests, and then you said you didn't need mine.
I did, really? Okay, that's good, then I know what to do in the database that I work with.
Okay.
I know, and then we had to get
Willow.
This is, I got 1 L. No, I got which one? I got a half of it. Which one?
Willow.
I got half a point tomorrow. What was
Clover.
I don't remember what
Ashley.
put a full
Rylan.
something.
Amelia.
How much I got wrong?
Yeah, I think when you guys wanted that.
On this test?
That's when
29 and a half.
Okay. So,
Why do I have half of all? This is not my test. This is no. I had my other test on the back from this, and I didn't have any of these wrong.
you've only done this once.
No, but I remember we looked over it. Are you talking about the old test?
TJ.
This is chapter 2 text.
Miranda.
Is this a quiz? I hope this is a quiz. Yeah, it's a quiz.
Brooklyn.
Where?
Hayden.
We got so much wrong.
Willow.
What is wrong with me? How did I do this?
Darker.
Why did I get?
What did I do wrong?
So we can go over everything, all right?
This doesn't make sense.
I saw
We're gonna go over it, okay?
Yeah.
Wait, why are these wrong?
I always understand.
Oh, I didn't even see those
When you're ready, I'll try to
questions.
answer all your questions.
I didn't even see those questions there. Dang it.
Okay. So the first problem, I was not looking for you to use inverse operations. But if you did, you have to add 8 to both sides, and then you get r is equal to 3. So come quiz or test time, I'm going to look for that. So if you did not do that, many of you did, but if you did not do that, maybe put it on here so when you study, you remember that. Yes, sir?
Which test are we going to?
This is quiz 5.5 through 5.8. One that you took just Wednesday. And then number 2 is 3/2 plus x is equal to 2. So if you subtract 3/2, which is the same as 1 1/2, then x is equal to 1/2. So if you put 1/2 back up here, 3/2 and 1/2 is 4/2, which equals 2. If you put 3 up here, 3 subtract 8 is equal to -5, so that's the way to check. Then for number 3, the way this one needed to be worked out is, it's a -4, so if you add 4 on both sides, p becomes less than or equal to 92. Then to graph that, all you needed to label was 0, 92. That works great. This is closed because it's or equal to, so it's a solid dot, and t has got to be smaller than or less than 92. So you shade everything past 0 because negative numbers work also. Take time to put that in there. You're going to see that again a lot over the next 5 years. So make a correction if you need to. 1 point for this, 1 point for that. 1 point for that, 1 point for that. Then number 4, if you do 4/5 greater than a -2/5 plus p. If you add 2/5, this will 0 cancel, so you have to do it to both sides. So that's 6/5, which is 1 1/5, is greater than p. Is that right? Yes. So if you read it backwards, p is less than 6/5. So if we label p, put in 0, all you need is 6/5 or 1 1/5, either way, whatever makes you more comfortable. So now p is smaller, but it's not equal to, so we have to leave that open, showing it's not included in shade. And then for number 6. This is what I have for number 6. And the way to get yourself set up with that one would have been to maybe make a table of values. Many of you did this. And if I add -1 and 0, that works. So then 0, -1 is a point that you use to draw your line. Let's say you did 5, then this would have to be -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go down 6, that would be a point here. And then if you did something like, well, -4 and +3, -4, +3, there's a point. Once you have 3 points, you can lay your ruler down and draw a nice straight line. And you can choose any 3 points that you want as long as they satisfy x plus y equals -1.
I did it a very different way, but I got the right answer. Is that like, it said the -1, so I just made it go through this -1 and that -1.
Yeah, I know.
And it made it straight.
Yeah, and this one, I think some of you saw, oh, well, it's x plus y equals -1, so it's -1, then it just goes straight through. And I saw some people do that, but they went straight through on the wrong angle. And I wasn't, if you got the line there your own way, that was great. If you didn't have it there, then I was going to take off points for it. I think making a table of values like I have on here, plotting those 3 points and then drawing the line, that's the way to go. Because it's not always going to be x plus y. Sometimes it'll be x minus y. Sometimes it'll be much different than that. Okay, then, if you roll 2 fair-sided dice, this was hard. This, there's a lot to keep track of with these problems, no doubt. But those are our dice up here, all the combinations you can have. The probability of rolling doubles. Well, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 as doubles. So that's 6 out of 36. So you might write that, and you might simplify it. You do not need to simplify it to get credit. 2 odd numbers. So there's 2 odds. These are both odd. That's both odd. So there are 3 of them here. There are none in the second row because they have to both be odd. And these are all with a 2. And then here there's 1, 2, 3 again. There are none here. And then there's 1, 2, 3 in this row. So that's 3, 6, 9. So that would be 9 out of 36, which simplifies to a 4. And then both doubles and 2 odd numbers. So that means it's got to be doubles, and they both have to be odd. So out of these 6 that are doubles, only 3 of them have 2 odd numbers. A pair of 1s, a pair of 3s, and a pair of 5s. So
You
that's
said-
3 out of 36, which is 1/12.
Oh,
And then doubles or, which means you get to add it together. But then you gotta be careful for overlap. A lot of you added them together, but you didn't look at the overlap. So doubles, there are 6 of them. And then there's the 2 odd numbers thing. In the 2 odd numbers, there were 9 of them. So that comes from this and this. So it's 6 plus 9, but then you need to subtract the doubles, which are also 2 odds, which are 1s and 3s and 5s. So there are 3 of those that you have to subtract out of 36. That's 12/36, which is a third. And then there's number 8. Number 8A. It says to write it as an addition equation, not subtraction. So that would have been something like 14 plus a negative 13.72. Or you could have said negative 13.72 plus 14.4. Oh, 14.4, not 4, 14. So you could have written that in a reverse order, but it had to be addition. And then when you solve this, 0.68.
wait, so 0.7 would be wrong?
Yeah, 0.7 would be wrong because 0.7 is not the result.
Okay.
0.68 is the answer.
And I said for 8, 13.7 plus A equals 14.4.
Yeah, but that's not 13.7 plus 14.4 is not
No,
it.
13.7 plus A equals 14.4.
Yeah, 13.7 plus A
Mm-hmm.
is equal to 14.4.
And that's wrong?
You know what? Maybe that wouldn't be considered wrong. Let me see. No, it's addition. Yeah, give it back to me. I'll give you that back. So what he wrote was this. Which isn't exactly what we're looking for, but it was an addition equation. Did anybody else write something that resembled that and I took off credit for it? Okay, so make sure that you're... the
Eight.
second to the last, 8A. Phoenix. Question? So 8b is 0.68. So the result of this is the same as 14.4 subtract 13.72. And if you do that subtraction, you get 0.68. Would you like me to do it on the board? So you need to have a placeholder 0, you need to borrow from the 4, making it 3. 2 from 10 is 8, 7 from 3, you gotta borrow, making it 13, that becomes a 3. 7 from 13 is 6, bring down your decimal point, put in a 0 in front of it, because 13 subtracted from 13 is 0. So that's 0.68. Or if you just add these two, 2 and 8 is 10, carry the 1, 8 and 6 is 14, carry the 1, and 13 plus 1 is 14. So that takes you right back to where you started. I'm done. So the last lesson of this chapter, the triangle inequality. I don't know if we did this last year. I don't believe we did. I kind of looked it up. I couldn't find where we might have done it. 6th grade, I don't know that you did it either. But what is the triangle inequality? What's what we learned from questions 8 and 9. That if you have a situation like this here, where the two shorter lengths add up to be equal to the longest side length, you cannot make a triangle. It doesn't work. These two need to be longer than this. Yes?
I don't know if we're going over this.
Do you?
How does
Sorta, I do.
shorter legs have to be longer than greater ones or longer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 3 plus 2 and 5. 3, 2, and 5
Yeah, we did this.
3, 2, and 5 would not work. But 3, 2, and 4 would work. So we did do this last year.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Your memory's better than mine. So this is a no. This is a no. So the triangle so then that allows us to kind of jump in the way this book expects you to. They say for any triangle, if you have 3 side lengths like this, you can take any combination of 2 side lengths and they will be, when added together, longer than the 3rd side. So so you have, in this case here, A plus B has to be longer than C. And let's see, B plus C has to be longer than A. And then A plus C needs to be longer than B. So you have any two sides added together will be longer than the third side. And it's easiest to look at the longest side and see if the two short sides are greater than it. So that's part of it. This is one part of it right here. But there's another part of it that says, let's see here. Ooh. No, I'll just leave it the way it is. It'll get more complicated if we start looking at it both directions like that. So let's use that idea and just look at, in the first example, tell me yes or no, does it work? We have side lengths of 1.41, 2.53 units, and 3.24 units. Can that make a triangle?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
The decimal points are, you know, numbers behind decimal points are larger.
3, 2, 4.
Yeah, I can.
So are these two added together greater than this?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like 3.94, isn't it?
Mhm.
So yes, because this is greater than this. So yes, that can make a triangle.
So if any two are greater than the other, then could you do 3
Well-
plus 2?
So this is if we take the first two is longer than the third.
Does it you couldn't do it backwards? Can you do the last two plus?
Because if by taking these two being longer than this,
Yeah.
that's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the first and the third are longer than the second side.
Yeah.
So in that case, all three of these have been met. But what we did is we chose the longest side,
Mhm.
and then we say that the two shorter sides need to be longer than it.
Okay.
Because if these two sides are shorter than this,
Mhm.
then they don't reach. It's kind of like, what was the colors that I used? I don't know where I said them.
Green and orange.
This one, pink and blue and yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the blue and the pink here, they're not long enough. So they have to be greater than the yellow length. And as soon as they are, by putting in something in like the red one, if that fits. As soon as you put the red in here, the red and the blue are longer, so yes, it does make a triangle. Can a length be too long?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, because if it goes
Yeah.
one.
Even if it adds up to longer than the.
4 points.
No, I don't know. Let's see here. So now what we have is we've got a length longer than the two, that's orange, right? So then the orange one just became the longest. But can that be?
Well, yeah, because if you just
Yeah,
flip it up.
What happened is the blue and the yellow are shorter than it. So can a length be too long?
Yes.
Yes, and that would be if this length here was longer than those two added up. Because then that inequality symbol would switch directions. So let's throw another one up here. Let's say we had something like a 4 and a 6 and a 20.
No.
So here's the longest. And if we did 4 plus 6, is that greater than 20? No, it's not. It is now less than. These two are less than 20. So then no, it's not going to make a triangle. So you want to jump into the hard stuff right away? Yeah, okay. So let's walk through example number 2. It says a triangle has side lengths of 42 and 31. Because we're not just going to be looking at triangles and saying yes or no, we can make them with the side lengths. We're going to be graphing all of the possible side lengths. everything that's possible. So we're gonna carry this a step further. So we have a triangle that's 42 centimeters. And 31 centimeters on two sides. So the question is, what are the possible values for the third side? So, if you're to do this, you drew a picture like that. So we're finding all of those sides. So how long can they be? Give one example.
How long can?
74.
Did somebody say 74? Okay, if this is 74,
No, it can't be 74.
then these two will not be longer than it, so they won't be able to stand up and make a triangle.
72 could work. Anything less than 72.
So we can look at it a couple of ways. If we looked at the 42 and the 31, and if they were perfectly straight, the total length is how long? 73 centimeters. So now, as soon as you make this shorter than 73, it pulls it up into a triangle. So that's one condition. That third side, let's call it X. It needs to be shorter. It needs to be less than 73 centimeters.
But it has to be more than like,
It has to be long enough, right? Because it can't just be 1 centimeter long, you'll never get a triangle out of this. So let's look at the other condition.
It has to
here.
be longer than 42, right?
Let's say we took this 42,
It has to be shorter
and then we
than.
cut back the 31. Yes.
Oh, you have to have the difference.
So now we cut back that 31 and we get it really, really close in here. Make it even closer. Draw it so it's like this. So it's hardly even a triangle. Now this little length here,
42.
you've got 42 subtract 31, which is,
9. No. 11.
it's 11. So if it was 11, it would lie flat. So you have to make this little piece in here has to be just a little bit bigger than 11 centimeters.
So it has to be between 12 and 72.
If it's a little, so it's got to be a little bit bigger than 11.
So yeah.
So that's your X. So if you cross this out, and I say that X is larger than 11, these are the sizes. Your side length has to be bigger than 11 and shorter than 73. So if you graph it, yeah, 69 would work. 15 would work. So now we're going to graph that. And this is going to be X, your third side. And X has to be in between 11 and 73. It's going to be any of these numbers. But it may not be 73, and it may not be 11, so you leave them open. So what's shaded are all the possible side lengths, leaving out 11 and leaving out 73.
Wouldn't they be covered in then?
They wouldn't be colored in because when we color them in, we're saying that that's part of our solution, that's a possible answer. And we can't use 73 because these two sides of the triangle will be lying perfectly flat. They'll be like, yeah, they'll be parallel. All three sides will be parallel to one another. It won't be on an angle. I can't remember what colors did I put together to pull that off. Was it 2 greens and a... So when you have sides that are equal, two sides together, that add up to that third side, you can't make them into a triangle. So if you have two sides that added up to 73, you cannot make them into a triangle. So without going through all of this every single time, there's a shortcut to it. Where does the number 11 come from?
Subtraction of 42.
Subtraction of 42 and 31. Where does the number 73 come from?
Addition.
The addition of them. So if you take two side lengths, and you subtract them, that will be less than the third side. And then if you add the numbers together, that will be greater than the third side. Phoenix.
Is that like an important equation we have to
Yeah, the last thing I say in a lesson is usually like the stuff that's gonna stick. So let's erase this and write the triangle. What's that?
I didn't write down the important part of the.
Oh, that was all example one right there, don't worry about it. What I put up here for a star, this is all the numbers that we worked with this example. But if we're gonna generalize what we just did here, what we can say is this. For any triangle, oh boy, I'm gonna do it, yeah, I'll write it more straightforward. With sides A, B, and C. So for any triangle with sides A, B, and C, that's gotta be lowercase. This is how it works. A subtract B is less than C. In other words, two sides are less than the third, which is less than these two sides when they're added together. So from this right here, you should be able to write possible side lengths. If I just say, here are the two sides that we know for the triangle. So write that down and then we'll do one like that. Give me a number between 1 and 100, Lucia. Give me a number between 1 and 100. 43. Isla, another number. How much?
82.
82. Okay. What are the possible side lengths?
Anything below 82.
Well, put things into here. We're trying to find this one. We're trying to find the middle amount. So we're going to take the two numbers, we're going to subtract them, take the two side lengths that we know, and we're going to add them.
That's less than 125.
And anything more than 39.
How much is this, right? You said this was 125?
Yeah.
So? And what's the difference between the two?
39.
39. So anything between 39 and 125 works. That's the triangle sum inequality. No, I'm sorry, it's the triangle inequality, not the triangle sum inequality. That'll be another day. That's the triangle inequality for side lengths. the book writes this with X, Y, and Z. You can use any variables that you want. It's just, you're thinking about that right there, that's your unknown side. This is the one, all of the possible side lengths fall between the difference and the sum of the other two sides. Here's the difference when we subtract the 42 and the 31, that's what's left over. And this is when we add them, it's got to be shorter than that. This lesson has a lot of variable stuff. So, it comes early though. You have to do a lot of this kind of writing and this description in terms of variable. So 1 to 5, 7, 10, 12, and 15. Done. So how are you going to write the triangle inequality for question 1? Any two sides of a triangle, when added together, will be longer than the third side. Any two sides of a triangle added together are longer than the third side. Can you write that? So what I did with the drawing compass on that last one, did that make sense to you? What I was doing? When you use these segments and the second compass to make think it was pretty straightforward. It's just using this instead of really to measure how long. And then we also had in that lesson doing, which we did last year. With this activity, it walks you through step by step. It tells you exactly how to make a triangle that has the unit lengths of 3 and 2, and I think 4 is what they put on the bottom, so it's like a 2, 3, 4 triangle. It tells how to make a circle. That one, I think, if you go back to those questions that we're trying to get people to remember how to do it, this will explain to you. And you'll see you can draw a circle like that, which is that many units with your round compass, 2 units, draw a circle here across. That becomes the part of the triangle. So if you need help coming in, help with that too. Lesson before that, because we forgot to do that book yesterday. Lesson 5-8. Okay, that ends it. I don't have that one.
Yeah.
Or do you need your compass? No, you don't need your compasses anymore.
Never again.
No, yes again, but can I keep them here because I use them in different classes? Is that okay? Thanks. That's actually the only one, right? Okay.
Oh,
Two more in.
that's the black one. It's the least feminine. I don't know what happened to all of yours.
Oh, who knows? You only that for your homework. Thank you. I'm sorry? 5, 8, and 5, 9. Homework assignments, is that what you're asking? Oh, that, okay, I'll talk to you about that in just a second. Everybody's staring at me, I gotta give them other contact or other thing or the eyeball. Okay, what that is a chapter 2 test. You have not taken the chapter 2 test. You were out, yeah, you were out absent, you got pulled out because of, yeah,
We don't
the
need
case,
these
the
for
COVID
the-
stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So, that thing needs to be taken.
The really
After
fancy.
school,
I can do it. Is there a 7th period?
not today, tomorrow there is.
I have to write the bus.
You up in Clark?
No, I write the bus.
Oh, but out there, okay, so tomorrow tomorrow 7th period,
Yeah.
okay.
Did you use that for me?
You have,
My name had like a plus mark on it.
you're welcome. Yeah, you have a quiz?
Can I go?
Yes, you may, thank you. The beginning of chapter 5 quiz, that you have not completed. So you,
Can I still do that? Like,
well, if you want
before
credit, yeah.
Thanksgiving break, I was trying to find you to do it, but then you left. Well, I
On
couldn't
Wednesday,
find
yeah, I might, yeah, Wednesday I was gone, I left.
We give
Then
you
to go
these.
pick up a boat out at the cottage. Yeah, thanks, right there. So, we can do it during some period tomorrow? Okay, I'll get it to Lori. Hi, Maddie. Okay, this. And, oh, this is still there.